Okay, everyone, this is the video for Project 3. So let's get started. First, we want to do a quick recap about what we went over in Project 1 or 2, where we basically talked about the simple relativity of color and how colors influence one another. It should be a pretty self-explanatory project. And pretty easy to do. Basically what you find is if you put any sort of colors together, you get an effect. The trick was to, though in Project 1, was to make one color look like two, or in a composition, make three colors look like four. So in this one, you can see we have the two grounds. We have the brown, large rectangular brown ground, and the green one. Now the idea is that these two figures are the exact same color. But because of their relationship to the ground, figure-ground relationship, it makes them look like two. So this one color looks like two, and in all, these four colors look like three. So here's some examples of some of your work that you submitted. And I'm still waiting to get some images, so I'll hold off on giving names, and we'll set up a critique sort of thing later. But you can see this is a nice example where the two figures, these two small rectangles, do really look alike. And that's because of the grounds that they're on and the distance they are from one another. And we're learning more and more about how to talk about that, right? This one becomes lighter. Actually, no, this one becomes darker on this bright orange. And this one somehow becomes lighter on this blue. And I have a feeling that might be because it's influenced by this dark green. Here's one example again. The idea, I believe, in this one is that these two yellows are supposed to look different. But I opened this in Photoshop and checked and found that they are actually different yellow or orange hues. So this is kind of a cheat. This one isn't really quite correct. But you can see how this does seem brighter against this dark ground, though it's actually a grayer sort of yellow. This one is interesting because they feel very similar, the yellows, right? This one's pretty subtle. It's really, if we were to follow the sort of goal that to make the figure look different, this one wasn't very successful. But I have a feeling because these are so high key, these are so bright and saturated, that they're all sort of on the same. They're examples of pure color. There's not much white or black added to these, so they're all so bright that they're kind of not really passing this test so well. This is one really nice example where if these are the same hue, this figure and this figure, because they're influenced by this very bright, large, bright ground here and this very dark yellow ground here, you can see how this one becomes so much darker and this one becomes so much lighter. This is a really good example, and you can see how it really is like the example given in the assignment. Let's quickly look at a few examples from just online. I thought like it would be fun to sort of look for examples of color found in just found on online sources. So this is a magazine called OASE that's kind of a design journal. And I looked up a few other design journals just off the top of my head. I thought what are some new ones? So I found this list on Stack magazine of design magazines, and so I collected a few that look nice. This one, IDN, has a lot of what are basically brand portfolios by various companies, and I clicked a few of them. This is one called Hybrid Design. And just clicking through, you can see some really nice examples of this color relativity that we're talking about. For instance, this gray tone on the orange versus the gray tone on the white. You can see how dark that is on the white. That's because of contrast. Here it becomes a lighter gray because the orange is closer in value. This is a fun example. You can see let's see the example of this orange compared to this yellow versus this orange compared to the blue. probably it's the same tone because these are being screen printed. Or maybe they're digitally printed, but either way you can see these sort of color things at play. So these aren't exactly perfect examples of what we're talking about, but you can see how they are definitely influenced by the same sort of studies. These are more three-toned color examples, but some nice examples here. You can see how with sort of a sensitive eye, you could start to do these sort of things, find colors that sort of go well together. This one I thought was really nice based on this kind of photo campaign they're doing. Here you have basically three colors and certain values of colors. We have a dark blue and also a light blue going on here. But you get some of the same blues as in the photograph brought onto the design of the can, that because it's on this white background, they become really high contrast and really dark. So this really pops compared to the yellow. It becomes sort of a background color where the color relationship is more subtle. But this is just like our project is kind of a 3 or 4 color study. It's another example. This was an interesting one that I found I thought was nice because you get an example of this weird sunglasses thing where the orange is on top of a white background, and here the orange is on top of a gray background. And it's not really explicit, but it takes kind of an understanding of color and how it works to make an effective image like this. And I clicked it, and that same image wasn't on this website, but you can see how color and design go so much into their kind of branding and product sort of product presentation, right? It makes it look very fun, whatever it is. And one more example. I'll zoom in on this. But these are these amazing posters designed by this artist here. River monsters and creation myths of Argentina's Paraná River. Some sort of event in London. So these are really cool. And this is quite intense. There's a lot going on here, but there are some much simpler examples if you scroll down. This one, for example, this shade of pink compared to this lighter pink is very subtle here, but compared to this yellow, sort of pops in a different way, right? So you get these two different color relationships with this dark saturated pink between the yellow and between the light pink. And the same here with the yellow to the light pink and the yellow to the dark pink. So there's that sort of 3 color relationships there. Yellow to light pink, yellow to dark pink, and dark pink to yellow, and dark pink to light pink. That's it for now. Let's jump into the Project 3 description now.